With that, I'd like to jump over and show you our trial design tool. So the way you get there is you go to farmtest.ag and you hit sign in. So I'm going to log in. And so if it's your first time, you would instead hit create account. And then when you get in here, you're going to have just the button to create a trial. So we collect some information, the business name. You can put a farm name in if it's helpful for you, but we need a field name also. Hit next. This is where you would go and you would upload a field boundary as a shapefile. So you would do that here. For the purposes of this, I'm gonna use our demo field boundary just to try it out, to show you how it works. I'm also going to use we need a way to line up the plots. And so if you have a heading, you could click that and enter it. But I'm actually going to use the demo AB line that we've put up in here. And if you had uploaded your own field boundary, instead of saying use demo AB line, this would say I have a field an AB line, and then you could upload it right here. Okay, this next screen, you can rotate or translate your AB line. So if you don't know the heading, you can start with our guess and you can translate and rotate till you get it to where you want it. A lot of times we use this if someone's doing a seeding rate trial and the plots are going to be two seeding, a planter passes wide, then you might use the planter pass as your initial AB line, and you would translate it by half a planter pass in order to get it in the middle of the plot. Okay, so now we're going to categorize the trial. So let's pretend we're doing a biofungicide trial. So sorry, so pest control, fungicide. We'll pretend it's in corn. And then the equipment I'm going to use is my sprayer. Okay. The units on this will be in gallons per acre, so I picked the appropriate units. This will be an on-off test, so it'll be 0 and 20 gallons per acre. And then in the areas outside the plots, we'll pretend this is a grower is really confident that this works, this fungicide works, but they want to just to make sure. And so they're going to have some test plots at 0. Okay. So here you can pick if you want it to be plots or strips. If you want the plots to be lined up so they're centered on the AB line or on the edge. And this is also where you set your plot width and length, and also how far you want to keep the plots away from the edge of the field. These are typically good values for typical equipment. But if someone has really nice equipment, then we can potentially make the plots smaller, and you get better results when you do that. Okay. So this screen, there's two inputs left here. One is the minimum acceptable plot area. What that means is you take that plot length and width and you multiply those together to get a plot area. And this is a place where if you enter 100%, it says every one of the plots that I'm going to accept has to have exactly that length and width. When you have an irregular shaped field, sometimes it's hard to fit in enough replicates if you make that requirement. So this is a place where we can say, you know what, I'm going to allow any plot that is 60% of that nominal area. The next one is the percent of the field under nominal treatment, and the place where the end grower who's going to be running this trial and executing it can say, you know, I want to do a field trial. I want to, but I think that what I'm doing already, I think that the fungicide works, and I'm afraid any place in the field where I don't apply it, I'm going to lose yield. And so this lets them say, for example, okay, I'm going to do the trial, but I want 85% of the field to be covered in fungicide and 15% can be test plots. So I come in here and hit preview, and now it's going to do a little calculation and figure out where to place those plots. While it's going, you can see here, there's this estimated least significant difference. This is your error bar on your trial, And so what this is saying is, if you were to go and do this trial right now, we think you got around, say, 5.5%. It would be your error bar. So if this is 200 bushel per acre corn, we could say, like, we're pretty confident if the yield difference is 11 bushels per acre or higher, then we would say that probably is a reproducible result and you should believe it. But if your yield lift is smaller than that, you would have to take it with a grain of salt. Again, this is an estimate, but it's just to get you in the right, figure out, like, is this trial going to be about the right size or not? So when you look at this, this is a picture of the trial, but it's also, there's a shape file that we've designed. And so if you purchase it, you can go and download it and you would load it in your rate controller. And so when you get to the field, actually, let's just start for a second. If you might look at this and say, you know, this looks okay, but actually I'm worried that a plot this small and this one over here, those are just a little too small for me to really believe that we're going to get good data out of that. And so we might take that and say, you know, instead, let's bump that minimum acceptable plot area up to 85%. And so we're going to rerun this, and it's going to go through and it's going to figure out some of those plots it's going to get rid of, and it's going to try and get bigger plots. Okay, so it did a little better, and you can see that the plots now are bigger. So you see like there's a, you know, some, they're not 100%, but they're better than they were, bigger than they were. So then the other thing you might come here and say, okay, this is a 9% error bar. That's a little too high. Like I really want to detect something smaller than that. So if I'm going to do it on one field, I'm going to have to change this percent of field under nominal treatment and lower it. So let's change that down to 70 and hit preview. And then we'll take a look at it again. Okay, so now it's filled in more plots, and you could come here and say, okay, it's estimating around a 4% LSD. And so now I'm testing this fungicide. I expect it's going to lift my yield by about 10 bushels per acre. And so that 4% is 8 bushels per acre. So now I can feel reasonably confident that this test is if I lift the yield by 10 bushels per acre, there's a good chance that this field trial is gonna see it, as long as, you know, I have kind of typical US corn variability for the United States. Okay. So now we're happy with this trial. And so we're going to view the summary of it. And so this is going to allow me to download a PDF. I'm going to save that. Place. And while that's saving, we can just talk. So the shape file, like I said, this is a picture of the trial, but it's also a shape file. And so if I load this in my rate controller, I get to the field, I make 2 passes around the edge with my sprayer. And then as I start coming down this row, it's going to switch now from 20 gallons per acre to 0 through this plot, back to 20, loop around, it's still 20, it goes to 0, 20. It will do that all automatically based on the GPS coordinates. Let's hop in here and take a look at this. So here's my planning summary. So the planning summary is basically a way for you to kind of eyeball it and share what you're thinking about for the trial. And so there's a picture of the trial. There is a breakdown of each of the treatments and how much area is in each of the treatments and how much product is needed for those. And then we also have the total amount of product that you need to apply to do the trial. We've got the tool. I'm going to hit purchase now. And so we've got the tool set up so you can make as many of those planning summaries as you want. You can design as many trials as you want, make planning summaries, and then you can go, if you're the decision maker, you can decide which trials you actually want to purchase, or and then you get the shapefile. Or if you need to go to a decision maker who's going to help you, you can say you have 5 fields that you're thinking of running a trial on, and you want to run the trial on 2 of those 5. You can design the trial on all 5, and then you could take those and go to your the person who's helping you make the decision, and you can decide which 2 of the 5 make the most sense. Okay,